back to my channel. In this video, we're speaking about Freud's psychosexual stages. This theory in particular is dealing with developmental psychology. So we're dealing with how does the child develop from the day it's born to adulthood? What influences the way that they develop, and does that change their personality? We need to hash out some terminology before we kind of delve into the theory itself. The first thing that we need to know is we need to know that the id plays a very, very important role in this theory. That impulsive behavior is obviously a childlike behavior, and we're dealing with children. The second thing that we need to know is what an erogenous zone is. Okay, I don't know if you guys watch Friends, but they speak about having 7 erogenous zones.
There are 7.
We're dealing with 3. Erogenous zones refer to a place on the body that gives you pleasure. 2 more words that are going to pop up quite frequently within this video are the words fixation and conflict. So fixation being what is the child or the adolescent fixated on during this stage, and conflict, what could manipulate their behavior. I'm going to do it in a table format just because it's easy to understand. Okie dokie. Stage 1 is known as the oral stage. The oral stage generally occurs between 0 and a year. So I don't know if you've been surrounded by kids before. When they reach round about 3 months, sometimes sooner, sometimes a little bit later, depending on their development, but round about 3 months, kids tend to want to put everything into their mouth. So whether it be their own hands, whether it be your hands, whether it be a toy, they continuously, it's almost like that's their line of sight. So the erogenous zone during this stage is obviously then the mouth. The mouth would then be the erogenous zone. Okay, here's where it becomes tricky. The conflict in this stage is weaning. Okay, the parent tries to wean the child off of them. So what does weaning mean? It means that you're trying to give your baby or your toddler a bit more independence. So you're trying to slowly but surely, and very slowly, because obviously they're a baby, so they are still very dependent on mommy and daddy, but you're wanting to give them a little bit of independence. So when they can hold their own bottle, you allow them to hold their own bottle. You allow them to try and put themselves to sleep as opposed to rocking them to sleep. You do certain things little by little to give them a form of independence. If you slowly but surely wean your child off of you in a passive way, so gradually, Freud then states that your child will then show personality traits of trust and independence. If you aggressively wean your child off of you, in other words, instead of doing sleep therapy and your child slowly but surely learning that just because they're crying doesn't mean that you're going to pick them up immediately. Okay, and I'm not saying you leave them there for hours. I'm saying you leave them there for a minute, and then you go back in and you check on them, and then you leave them in for 2 minutes, and so forth and so on. If you just leave your child and you aggressively wean them off of you, they will then show personality traits of being dominant and aggressive. This makes logical sense to me, because if you are going to give into your child's every need, all right, this is why discipline is important, even from a young age. Slowly weaning your child off of you is a form of discipline. It's providing them moral principles, all right? If you end up doing that, your child is going to be more trustworthy and they're going to be independent of you. I'm not saying in general, I'm saying of you. If, however, you give into your child's going to take advantage of you, okay? They are going to think that they have you wrapped around their little finger, which initially they probably do. The fixation during this stage is sucking, licking, or biting. Freud also then states that because of these 2 different ways of weaning your child off of you, your child can then develop fixations in late development. So when you become an adult or a young adolescent, if your development during the oral stage wasn't great, he says that you are more likely to then become a smoker or a drinker, because you're fixated with anything that gives you pleasure orally. That is stage 1. Stage 2 is the anal stage. This occurs between the ages of 2 and 3. So it's definitely not what you're thinking. Between the ages of 2 and 3, children are generally potty trained, hence his term anal, because you're talking about excretion. The erogenous zone during this stage is obviously the anus. The conflict during this stage is potty training. Alrighty, parents don't understand a lot of the time, unless they studied psychology or they have some sort of understanding of psychology, they don't understand the importance of potty training. If you're going to force your child to be potty trained on your terms, you're going to have a very difficult time, especially later on in life, okay? Whereas if you allow your child to slowly but surely learn that, oh, okay, I have this sensation, which means I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, mommy, quick, I need to go to the bathroom, okay? If that naturalistic kind of way of becoming potty trained occurs, you are going to have a bit of an easier time. I'm not saying it's going to be grand. I'm not saying it's the same for everyone, but I'm saying generally speaking, it will be better in the long run. And this is all according to Freud. You have retentive and expulsion. It is where you praise your child. So they went number 1 in the potty. Yay, well done. I'm so proud of you. Obviously not excessively like I'm doing now, but when they do something right, when it comes to potty training, you praise them, okay? Your child then, according to Freud, is more likely to be stubborn and tidy, like neat and tidy. On the other side of the spectrum is retentive. This is when you don't praise them and you seriously crap them out when they make a mistake and you completely go ape at them. This type of parenting leads to a generous child and an untidy child, okay? An untidy child because the child just doesn't care, because no matter what they do, it's not good enough. And a generous child is a projective child. So they become generous because they're wanting to give what they never got. So that is your anal stage. Your phallic stage. This one is where it becomes complicated, very complicated, if I can say so, okay? And also a little bit freaky and weird and just not normal. So your phallic stage is between the ages of
4 and 5.
The erogenous zone is genitals, but not in the way that you think. This isn't saying that children become sexually active. This stage and the genitals being the erogenous zone refers to the Orifice and Electra complex. The Orifice complex is the male version of the Electra complex. And in a nutshell, what that means is Freud believed that a boy became very jealous of his father and he became infatuated with his mother. Obviously, it'll be a little girl in the Electra complex. It's the same thing, it's just switching genders. The little boy is extremely jealous of his father because he's wanting all of his mother's attention. So he looks at his father as a threat. Freud believed that unconsciously he almost wanted to kill his father, just that he could have his mother all to himself. This is why during these ages you have boys who become, we call it mommy verskrik in South Africa, which basically means that they become mom obsessed. Okay, so Freud believed that the personality traits that could occur after this stage or during this stage refer to that of an exhibitionist, overly vain, or sexually aggressive.
The fixation during the stage is gender roles.
That is the phallic stage. Alrighty, we then come to the latency stage. The latency stage is between the ages of 6 and puberty, so plus minus 12. During this stage, the child's sexual drive, in inverted commas, is dormant. It's non-active. This is the age where they put all of their attention and emotion into sports, into friends, into hobbies, into things that they enjoy, whether it be acting or playing sport or doing arts and crafts or whatever the case is. They put all of their energy into those things. There's no underlying sexual tension, which Freud believes they have since the day one. There is no erogenous zone in this one. There's no conflict in this stage. There's literally, that's it. The psychosexual stage is latency, it's dormant, that's that. Then lastly, I know, take a break, have a breather, is a lot to take in. Lastly, the stage is the genital stage, okay? This occurs from puberty into adulthood, so anywhere from 12 and up. The erogenous zone during this stage is genitals, and yes, this time, because you're older and you've gone through puberty and your body's hormones and everything's done its thing, this is a sexual attraction. The conflict within this stage is attraction. Whoever you're attracted to, this is the stage that Freud believes it comes into play, all right? During the genital stage of Freud's psychosexual stages, he doesn't pinpoint personality traits that could occur, well, during this stage, should I say, because there is no end to the stage according to him, all right? So this stage looks more at the idea that the child has now gone from self-pleasure, right? So doing anything for themselves to kind of giving other people pleasure, right? So it doesn't necessarily only mean sexual pleasure, it means doing things altruistically. So doing things to support other people, to help other people, being kind and generous, those sort of things, and getting pleasure out of those. But obviously, because it's Freud, it is going to have the sexual undertone. So the Genesis stage then looks at sharing a connection with somebody else. That is the personality trait that comes out of this. It comes from being a selfish individual to now being more of a open, generous individual. Okay, so we've done it. I know that this is a mouthful. I know it's a lot of information. So thanks for sticking it out. I hope it makes sense. If you guys have any questions or queries, as usual, pop a comment down below and I'll get back to you. Thanks for checking in, guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Cheers. Bye.